Hello, good evening. I am Ajit Kumar Jha, the editor of Public Global and the CEO of Power Pixar. And today we want to examine a very important question, and that is, did US President Donald Trump checkmate Modi? The headline we are using is, did Donald Trump Modi? Trump means to checkmate. And that is a very important question today. And why? Because let's start with the first term of US President Donald Trump. If you remember the first, if you remember the first term of US President Donald Trump, the bonhomie, the friendship between US President Donald, then US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi was being talked about all over the world. In fact, one could go into a little bit more details. Remember when Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined US President Donald Trump on a stage in Houston and held and there Trump hailed Modi as the true friend of the White House. I'm actually quoting from Donald Trump. The whole event in Houston, this was in September of 2019. Houston, is in the state of Texas, the second largest state of the US. And the whole event was called Howdie Modi. It was held in Houston, massive crowd, and the entire event was supposed to, in a way, show the great friendship between the US president and the Indian prime minister, and the great friendship between the two countries. In fact, after that, if you remember, this was not only one event, there were other such events. And the other big event was when Prime Minister, when US President Donald Trump came to India. And if you remember, that was on 24th and 25th February 2020. That was called Namaste Trump. Actually, US President Donald Trump at that time had come with First Lady Melania Trump. They visited Delhi. They went to Agra to see the Taj Mahal. And then from there, the big event which they tried to showcase, which India tried to showcase in India, originally it was supposed to be called Kem Cho Trump, which means, how are you, Mr. Trump? But then the name was changed later to Namaste Trump, because the idea was, you can't have just a very provincial image of India, a Gujarati image, although Narendra Modi loves to project the Gujarati image. But the idea was to widen it, and therefore it was called Namaste Trump. The estimates are that between 1 lakh to 1.25 lakh people were brought into the Motera Stadium. Those days it was named after Sardar Patel, and now it is popularly called the Narendra Modi Stadium. So in that stadium on 24th, 25th February, this massive gathering was held. In fact, Priyanka Gandhi later pointed out in Parliament that over 100 crore was spent just simply on that one event. Think of that period. Think of the way, even during the second term, especially during the first term, but even during the second term, when there was a contest between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, the entire sort of what one would call pro-BJP diaspora, largely resident in the US, they sort of voted for Trump in a massive way. And the friendship was supposed to take us to this glory of the future. And it is shocking that from there, where we have slid today, 2019, remember, Narendra Modi had won for the second time, massive victory. And 2019, 2020, when in fact, if you remember, when Donald Trump came to Delhi that day, there was riots in Delhi, but everything was shuffled down. In fact, the place I live, the area of Vasant Vihar, over there, the jhoggi and jhopris were covered. I mean, this was absolutely supposed to showcase, and it was supposed to be a photo opportunity between US President Donald Trump and Narendra Modi. In fact, the truth is that Modi campaigned for Donald Trump, hugged him, posed for photographs, made it trend on social media, and all of that. And then look at the situation today. The whole era of friendship of Howdie Modi is over. So, the entire thing has turned around 180 degrees. And today, President Donald Trump is talking of, when he's talking about India, he's talking about the dead economy, the jibe of dead economy. India is a dead economy like Russia. I mean, what an insult for the third largest economy of the world. Not only that, in fact, 30 times, some people have counted, it could be more than 30 times, US President Donald Trump claims to have brokered the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. He keeps claiming that he mediated when the military hostilities took place. And he has repeatedly said that he used trade and tariff as a threat to both sides, to India and Pakistan, to end the war. And then, if you remember, when he became president, when Donald Trump became president in January, the turn had already begun. Somehow, Mr. Modi and the BJP and the NDA government was not paying attention. That is exactly what, the moment Donald Trump became president, remember the return of Indian immigrants in chains, manacled and shackled, totally humiliating, India. And no one spoke out. In fact, the BJP leaders and many others, supporters of Mr. Modi, kept saying, oh, well, illegal immigration is wrong, And in fact, they have been doing the same thing these days. Now, these days, they go around in Gurgaon, sort of, arresting all kinds of Bengali-speaking workers, of a particular community. And the result is massive number of Bengali workers have moved from Gurgaon back to Assam, back to Bengal, back to other areas. It's a similar thing. Officially, until now, only 15,688 so-called, quote-unquote, illegal immigrants have been returned. Actually, the figure that I'm giving you was given by Minister of External Affairs, Jai Shankar, on February 6th, 2025. He had said 15,000 Indian migrants have been returned. The latest figure that I got was 15,688, which is pathetic. It's a pittance, the number, given the claims are, that lakhs and lakhs of Indian illegal immigrants are there in the US. In fact, that entire anti-immigration policy of Donald Trump has been a major disaster. In the last 6 months, nearly 200,000, and that's an upper claim. Some people say only 150,000, 1.5 lakh workers all over the world claim to be illegal settled in the US have been returned. But the witch hunting going on within America, in the hospitality sector, in the agricultural sector, in farms and fields and all over hotels, wherever they think that, immigrants from the so-called third world come and work, even in the universities and colleges, They have been raiding left, right, and center. They have made America into, some kind of what one would almost say it's become an authoritarian state. The way they are attacking sort of immigrants, even at times who are citizens of the US. But I will not go into that right now because my focus is more how Donald Trump has checkmated Modi, how the entire relationship between these two people, leaders of the two largest democracies on earth has turned around. In fact, we will come to the 25% tariff that Donald Trump has officially announced against India. Even in that, one could go into details, but India is almost at the very top with China 30%, India 25%, Brazil 50%. Rest of the countries are all below, India. In fact, European Union, Japan, and many of these countries are much, much below. Pakistan is unannounced, but likely to be much, much below that of India. So all this friendship between Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump, throughout the first term, even till the beginning of the second term, all that Biden period did not help. Of course, some people point out that one big mistake made by Narendra Modi when he visited the US during the campaign, when Trump and Kamala Harris were attacking each other. Prime Minister Narendra Modi decided not to meet Trump at that time. Somehow they wanted to play neutral. They were unsure of who's going to win the American presidency. That, some people claim, might have cost Narendra Modi his friendship with Donald Trump. But the thing is, worst of all, has been this entire, Operation Sindoor. Before Operation Sindoor, India was a great friend of America, a strategic ally, part of the Quad. The Quad is sometimes critically known as the NATO of Asia. The Quad was supposed to be 4 players: US, Australia, Japan, and India. And these 4, in a way, were supposed to challenge China in the Pacific. And Pakistan, America almost at that moment held Pakistan with a barge pole. And the moment Operation Sindoor took place, the moment the military hostilities between India and Pakistan took place, and 4 days later, when the ceasefire took place, and President Trump, as I said, kept saying that he is the one who ended up brokering the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and India totally silent, did not respond initially. Total silence from India. Anger, but total silence. And Pakistan played its card extremely well. General Asim Munir was even invited later to the White House, where he had he sat with President Trump. They had lunch or dinner, and he proposed Donald Trump's name for Nobel Peace Prize. And this great friendship emerged between the two. And the friendship has reached such a level that today the US has officially claimed that the US has done a deal with Pakistan for oil reserves, that they are going to sell oil. In fact, let me quote President Donald Trump. He added, after doing the deal with Pakistan, he said, and I'm quoting President Trump, maybe Pakistan will be selling oil to India someday. He meant in the future. Now, This is clearly a big insult for India, for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is supposed to be a great pal of US President Donald Trump. The situation has completely turned 180 degrees. Look at it. Today, Pakistan has not only edged closer to the US, but has become a great friend of US President Donald Trump, of America, and Pakistan has always been, for the last few decades, a great friend of China. In fact, China helped it a great deal during the India-Pakistan hostilities. It seems at this moment that both China and the US, the two largest economies of the world, the two superpowers, are competing to invest in Pakistan, which Indians, and especially the NDA government, had always claimed, is a failed economy. So the picture has totally turned. Today, India stands isolated from the two largest economies. The way, in the last 11 years, the way the NDA government tried to befriend the US, tried to befriend Israel, and ended up distancing itself from China. We've even had, some border problems, which I don't want to go in details, but all of us know that in the last 11 years. As a result, India is totally isolated from both China and the US. It's a moral failure, according to me, of the Modi government. It's a geopolitical failure of the Modi government, a massive diplomatic failure of the Modi government, and the fact that Mr. Modi claimed, and the whole NDA government claimed, that Narendra Modi was supposed to be the Vishwa Guru. That Vishwa Guru title suddenly has fallen from grace. I'll try and end here, and maybe I'll make another video on the economics of the tariff, the Trump tariff, on how that is going to impact in the future. That will be slightly more technical, but the main moral in the second video will also be that the Modi government goofed up on the diplomatic level completely. The political level, they could not handle the diplomacy of Operation Sindoor. They went about it completely wrong. They did not understand what US President Donald Trump means. All that sort of bonhomie and hugging, somehow Mr. Modi was not able to figure out what Donald Trump is all about. At this moment, majority of Indians who were at one time very pro-Donald Trump are now cursing him. All kinds of attacks have begun. People say he's mad. He's a crazy person. They call him transactional president. But the point is, why did Mr. Modi not figure out what Donald Trump was all about? Number one, and number two, why did he not protest even once when the Indian immigrants were being brought back, manacled and shackled? Total silence. When 30 times Trump mentioned that America has been mediating in a way and brokering this ceasefire between the two countries, India and Pakistan, total silence. Mr. Modi did not even speak once. And on each and every issue, again on the issue of why 25% tariff against India, total silence. This silence is in direct contrast to what Indira Gandhi had done, when Bangladesh was created, when she challenged US President Nixon and his combination, his Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger. Remember Mrs. Gandhi, how she fought back. The 7th Fleet was brought in Indian Ocean. Indira Gandhi did not buzz. In fact, later on, the fact that the US was had helped India in mid 1966-67 when we had massive drought and that PL 480 program had begun. MS Swaminathan in one of his speeches, I'm talking about the famous agricultural economist, said Indira Gandhi in 1971 ended the PL 480 program, made India self-sufficient in agriculture, and that, he pointed out, was a bigger achievement than even human beings reaching the moon. Contrast Indira Gandhi with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Indira Gandhi, a woman, India was much weaker at that time as a country, a much smaller economy, stood up, created Bangladesh, dismembered Pakistan, fought directly against both this combination of US President Richard Nixon and Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. And today, Mr. Modi and his entire team have been total silence, no protest, nothing. They are just so afraid of, it seems, US President Donald Trump, and Trump has completely rogered them in terms of tariff, in terms of immigration, in terms of diplomacy, by befriending Pakistan and distancing themselves from India. I'll just end here. And as I said, wait for my next video on the economics of the Trump tariffs. Thank you very much.